There have been many cases throughout history, but especially throughout the past few decades, where children were put behind bars. Whether or not some of them have deserved it is widely debated, but there are a couple that very few debate. Some children are actually given life sentences due to the unspeakable crimes that they have committed. And that's what this video is going to talk about today. TJ Lane was a teenager who gained notoriety in 2012 when he carried out a mass shooting at Chardon High School in Ohio. The shooting left 3 students dead and 3 others injured. Lane was just 17 years old at the time and had no prior criminal record. The shooting shocked the community and the nation, and Lane was quickly arrested and charged with murder and attempted murder. In 2013, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The sentence sparked a debate about the justice system's treatment of minors who commit violent crimes. Supporters of the boys argued that their age and troubled past should have been taken into account and that they deserved a second chance for rehabilitation. However, others believed that the severity of their crime warranted a life sentence. The judge who sentenced the boys noted that they had shown no remorse for their actions and that they posed a danger to society. Because of this, they were sentenced to bars. Antonio Barbeau and Nathan Papp were 2 teenagers from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, who gained national attention in 2013 when they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of Papp's great-grandmother, Barbara Olson. The boys, who were both 14 years old at the time of the murder, had a troubled history. They had been friends since childhood, and both had a history of drug use and behavioral issues. On the day of the murder, they had reportedly been high on cough syrup and looking for money to buy more. According to police, Barbeau and Papp broke into Olson's home and beat her to death with a hammer and a hatchet. They then stole her car and other belongings and fled the scene. The murder shocked the community and the nation, and the boys' sentencing to life in prison without the possibility of parole sparked a debate about the justice system's treatment of minors who commit violent crimes. Supporters of the boys argued that their age and troubled past should have been taken into account and that they deserved a second chance for rehabilitation. However, others believed that the severity of their crime warranted a life sentence. The judge who sentenced the boys noted that they had shown no remorse for their actions and that they posed a danger to society. Because of this, they were sentenced to bars.
Daunte Wright's arrest and subsequent trial for the murder of Jordan Klee drew national attention due to him reportedly smirking and laughing during the court proceedings. Your why will never be better than his life. Your want will never trump my son's death. If you'll take a look at the clip currently on your screen, you'll see that he showed absolutely no remorse for the killing. The case was particularly heartbreaking for Klee's family members who were in attendance throughout the trial. Klee, who was 18 years old at the time of his death, was working as a pizza delivery driver when he was fatally shot by Wright during an attempted robbery. Klee's death was a devastating loss for his loved ones, and it sparked outrage in the community. During the trial, Wright's behavior in the courtroom drew criticism and condemnation from many who saw it as disrespectful to Klee's memory and to the justice system as a whole. Some argued that Wright's demeanor was a sign of a lack of remorse for his actions, while others suggested that it could be a coping mechanism in response to the gravity of the situation. In February of 2021, a jury found Wright guilty of second-degree murder and other charges related to the crime. He was sentenced to 25 to 52 decades in prison for his role in Klee's death. He won't be getting out anytime soon. Roxana Sikorsky was a teenager who was convicted of murdering her younger brother in 2014. According to reports, she had a troubled upbringing and had been adopted from a Polish orphanage along with her brother and sister. It was reported that she had been radicalized online and had developed extremist views. Sikorsky admitted to killing her brother and was planning to kill her sister as well, but was stopped by her parents before she could carry out the act. After fleeing the scene, she was later found and arrested by the police. During her trial, she was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment. The case of Roxana Sikorsky is a tragic reminder of the influence that extremist ideologies and online radicalization can have on vulnerable individuals. It also highlights the importance of mental health support and early intervention for at-risk youth. Roxana wasn't alone in her attempted murder, however. As one article puts it, manipulative boyfriend convinced his girlfriend to end her whole adoptive family. Her much older boyfriend, Michael Rivera, was attempting to get her to kill her family so she would run away with him. It's safe to say that things didn't go according to plan for the 2 murderous lovers. If you watch the clip on your screen now, you'll see that she teared up at the trial because she was led on by an older man and then lost everything she knew. Some people feel quite bad for her, while others still call her nothing but a stone-cold murderer. That's how I'm sorry. Caleb Sharp is a name that has gained notoriety in recent years due to his involvement in a tragic school shooting incident on September 13, 2017. Sharp, then a 15-year-old student at Freeman High School in Rockford, Washington, opened fire on his classmates, killing one student and injuring 3 others. The incident sent shockwaves through the community and the nation as a whole. Sharp was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder, and assault. He was tried as an adult and ultimately pleaded guilty to all charges. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Since his conviction, Caleb Sharp has largely remained out of the public eye. He is currently incarcerated at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla, where he will likely spend the rest of his life. The tragic events at Freeman High School have sparked debates about gun control and mental health resources for troubled students. While there is no doubt that Sharp's actions were horrific and caused irreparable harm to many people, there are also questions about what could have been done to prevent such a tragedy.
On January 29, 1979, Spencer, then 16 years old, opened fire on a group of children waiting outside Grover Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego, California, killing 2 people and injuring 9 others. When police arrived at Spencer's home, where she had been shooting from, she famously replied to the question of why she had done it with the words, "I don't like Mondays. This livens up the day." This statement became the inspiration for the hit song "I Don't Like Mondays" by the Boomtown Rats. Spencer was arrested and charged with murder and assault with a deadly weapon. At her trial, she pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. She has been denied parole multiple times and remains incarcerated. The case of Brenda Spencer has sparked debates about the causes of school shootings and the treatment of mental illness. Spencer had a troubled childhood and reportedly been the victim of physical and sexual abuse. She had also been diagnosed with depression and had a history of drug use. While these factors do not excuse her actions, they do provide important context for understanding the tragedy. In the years since the shooting, there have been numerous efforts to improve mental health resources for young people and to prevent gun violence. Youngest person executed in 20th century U.S. was wrongfully convicted. The case of George Stinney is one of the most infamous examples of racial injustice in American history. In 1944, Stinney, a 14-year-old African-American boy, was accused of murdering 2 white girls in Alcalá, South Carolina. Despite the lack of evidence and a coerced confession, Stinney was quickly tried, convicted, and sentenced to death by electric chair. The trial lasted just 1 day, and Stinney's appointed defense attorney did little to defend him. The all-white jury took just 10 minutes to reach a guilty verdict. Stinney was executed just 83 days after his arrest, making him the youngest person ever executed in the United States in the 20th century. For decades, Stinney's case received little attention or scrutiny, but in recent years there has been a renewed interest in seeking justice for him. In 2014, a South Carolina judge vacated Stinney's conviction, citing lack of due process and constitutional rights violations. That clip can be seen on your screen now. The case of George Stinney has become a symbol of the systemic racism and injustice that has plagued the American criminal justice system for centuries. It is a reminder that the legal system is not always fair or impartial, and that innocent people can be caught up in a web of racism, poverty, and political expediency. Boy who killed his neighbor out of fear of father. Joshua Phillips is a name that is associated with one of the most shocking cases of child-on-child violence in recent memory. In 1998, when he was just 14 years old, Phillips murdered his 8-year-old neighbor, Maddie Clifton, in Jacksonville, Florida. Phillips initially claimed that Maddie had been killed by an intruder, but when her body was found hidden beneath his waterbed, he eventually admitted to the crime. He had struck her with a baseball bat and then stabbed her multiple times with a knife. Phillips was tried as an adult and convicted of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His case has since become a subject of intense debate, with many arguing that he should have been tried as a juvenile and given a chance at rehabilitation. I'm sorry, also that I'm trying. Despite the severity of his crime, some have also pointed out that Philip was a troubled young man with a history of neglect and abuse. In the years since conviction, there have been calls for more resources to be devoted to preventing child abuse and addressing the root causes of violent behavior in young people. The case of Joshua Phillips serves as a sobering reminder of the devastating impact that violence can have on a community. It also highlights the complexities of dealing with juvenile offenders and the need for a more nuanced approach to justice and rehabilitation.